Young kid, pretty good on the sax, gets up to play at a cutting session, and he fucks it up. And he's laughed off stage. Cries himself to sleep that night, but the next morning, what does he do? He practices. And he practices and he practices with one goal in mind, never to be laughed at again. And a year later, he goes back to the Reno, and he steps up on that stage and he plays the best motherfucking solo the world has ever heard.
Hello, I am Keanu from Diploma in Psychology, and my group and I are going to make our review about whiplash for presentation skills.
Hi, my name is Chong Jala. I'm from DMC, and my group members are Junyu, Kenosh, and Dylan. And today I'll be reviewing this movie called Whiplash.
Hello, my name is Nga Junior and I'm from Group 9. Today I'd like to share a brief personal reflection on the film Whiplash from 2014.
Hello, my name is Dylan Owen, and I recently watched Whiplash. Whiplash is a 2014 American psychological drama film which follows an ambitious music student on his tumultuous journey through the music world, pushed to his limits by his abusive instructor, with most of the film taking place in the bright yellow practice rooms and auditoriums of the fictional Schaefer Conservatory Music School in New York City. Written and directed by Devin Chazelle, the film stars such well-acclaimed actors like Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, acting out a story actually based on Chazelle's own experiences taking part in a very competitive jazz band in high school, albeit the film version is quite exaggerated for its own dramatic flair and joie de vivre. Andrew Newman is a student at Schaefer Conservatory, a young jazz drummer with dreams of becoming the next jazz prodigy. Inspired by his father, who was once a jazz musician himself, and idolizing such jazz legends as Buddy Rich, from the very beginning Andrew was characterized with the insane dedication he's willing to put into mastering his craft, willing to push himself beyond what most people would consider healthy, with the goal of becoming one of the greats. Terrence Fletcher, meanwhile, is an instructor at Schaefer Conservatory, spoken of in hushed whispers and reverence by students at the school, with the simple act of being spoken to by him holding a great deal of prestige. When Andrew is then visited and promptly recruited by Fletcher into his band, not knowing what to expect, Fletcher is encouraging at first.
Got Buddy Rich here.
Before he stops to be encouraging,
Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head, Neiman?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
going on to ask one simple question.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
I don't know.
Relentlessly tormenting him with details from his past, berating and belittling him, and physically assaulting him to get a point across about keeping tempo.
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
Louder!
I'm upset.
You are a worthless, friendless, lip little piece of shit whose mommy left daddy when she figured out he wasn't Eugene O'Neill, and who is now weeping and slobbering all over my drum set like a 9-year-old girl. So for the final father time, say it louder!
I'm upset.
The film mainly follows this, Andrew's abusive relationship with Fletcher as he's pushed beyond his limits physically and mentally, and Andrew's own pursuit of achieving perfection, practicing until his hands blister and bleed, spiraling into obsession and self-destruction. His drive to impress Fletcher spirals into a toxic cycle of approval and abuse, costing him relationships and his own sanity.
And you're not.
I want to be one of the greats.
And I would stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
You know.
Beyond most of the minor criticisms, such as the slightly odd folder swapping scene, or certain inaccuracies in terms of the portrayal of music school compared to how it is in the real world, Whiplash is an almost perfect film and a complete masterclass in acting and tense psychological drama. From a technical aspect, Whiplash has an amazing cinematography that takes full advantage of the intensity of an instrument such as the drums. It is amazingly written with brilliantly real and deep characters and dialogue that juggles between being funny yet carrying deeper meaning.
People wonder why jazz is dying. I'll tell you, man, and every Starbucks jazz album just proves my point, really. There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
Airtight plot that wastes absolutely no time with filler or unnecessary stuff. But beyond that, Whiplash has this hidden depth to it, this greater subtext that poses a swath of interesting questions. What does it mean to achieve perfection? When does passion for something stop being healthy and cross into something much darker? What lengths would you go to achieve such perfection? Is Fletcher in the right? Is he right in his pursuit of creating another drumming prodigy? And when does his motivation and his desire and his actions to push people to their limits go too far?
Then I'm coming, you motherfucker!
And honestly, this movie is one of the most intense movie I've ever watched,
In my opinion, it is an almost flawless movie.
because the emotion that they bring out during this film was extremely strong, and it's pretty rare to find this kind of film, especially about music.
It's a film that stayed with me for a while, not just because of its intensity and outstanding performances, but also because of how harsh and emotionally challenging it felt.
It portrays themes of emotional and physical abuse and extreme obsession in the best ways possible.
And it's a very special theme in my opinion. This movie was trying to bring out a 19 years old drummer and wanting to be famous, and he did work really hard. His journey looks impossible, but in the end he did it. He used his own way to prove to his coach that he can do it, especially his double time swing. It's quite incredible.
I was quite impressed with the way they portrayed music in the movie. I play drums myself, and I tend to notice when movies like these are inaccurate. Like, say, you look in the background of a shot, and the thing that they're playing doesn't match up with the music at all. But this movie was good, and quite believable, in spite of how exaggerated it could be.
The highlight of the film for me was the relationship between the protagonist Andrew Neiman and his mentor Fletcher.
I think the chemistry between Andrew and Fletcher makes the whole movie, honestly.
Fletcher is aggressive, loud, and is generally a force of nature, which is a complete contrast to Neiman, who is more timid, kinder, and generally quieter. Throughout the course of the movie, this dynamic changes and shapes Andrew Neiman into an almost different and unrecognizable person. He becomes a lot more like Fletcher. I think, to me, this is a great representation of how unhealthy obsessions and extremes can push you into negative spaces.
Fletcher's methods are not just strict, they're abusive, pushing students to their psychological limits in the name of excellence.
This film also used a lot of sharp editing, sharp angle to bring out the emotion in this film. Extremely good at the angle.
Overall, though, I do not have any complaints about this movie. As I mentioned before, I think that it is almost flawless, and that the only thing I can see that may be considered a flaw is that its world building is not fleshed out. The world outside of Fletcher's studio and the stadiums that they perform in, the world is generally kind of bland, a bit boring to some maybe.
But overall, I think this movie is, almost flawless. I think it's pretty close to perfection.
I'll be giving this movie around 9 out of 10. It's not a bad film after all.
I think Whiplash solidifies itself as one of the greats.
Whiplash is a brilliant, thought-provoking film.
I think it's a masterpiece.
That's all, thank you.